but I don't remember it. You do, right? So, draw our little steps in the building like such. And you just make it like it's actual steps. We'll put some more buildings in here and we'll fill this out, and it's going to look like Manhattan in no time, peeps. I'm telling you. Yep, got my Kick channel. I threw a video up there on the other day, and you know, it'll be difficult for a while, I think, because I don't have the capability quite yet to have like me filmed like so that the screen is there and you can see this me drawing, but you can also see me drawing it, and I can interact with the chat a little better and everything. I have to do it on my phone at the moment, which is whatever, you know. I'm not gonna let it hold me back. And I'm gonna keep plugging away until I figure out what to do or make enough money to get a dedicated platform, you know. It wouldn't take much. It would just take like a cheap laptop. Unfortunately, even though I love the laptop I have, it's a Linux-based laptop. It's kind of jerry-rigged together. It's, yeah, it's not going to work. I've tried getting editing software on it and stuff, and it's just a huge pain in the ass for some reason to get on there. The Ubuntu software just won't, you know, for whatever reason, it just won't do it. And then it's like, oh, go look for it in more apps. I go look for it in more apps, and there's nothing. So I just need, and there's a reason for that. My computer is an old, it's like I said, it's jerry-rigged together. I bought it brand new, and it was just full of bloatware and crap, and it finally crapped out on me. And yeah, and I needed a new computer after that, and just got the hard drive and the RAM replaced by a solid-state drive instead of a traditional drive. And it's been a great computer, but since it's all jerry-rigged with weird operating system and all this stuff, it's, you know, the availability of software for it is extremely limited. And yeah, it's that simple. So I'm just kind of doing what I can with what I got for the moment. And if it's meant to happen, then it's meant to happen. And the universe or God will provide. In that case, my buy me a coffee information is in my description. That would be cool. But yeah, sooner or later I'll get a computer just for the streaming and stuff, and I'll start streaming, you know, a little more normally, I guess, than I do at the moment with just the talking and the hands drawing. Alright, we'll have our comically large World Trade Center here. Alright. More of a square. Yep, Christmas Eve. Holy smokes. Can't believe it. It's like, makes you start wondering, like, really? And they say 80 years is a long time to live? I don't think so. I think they're lying to us, people, because if a year goes by that quick, why wouldn't 30 more, you know? And I'll be 80 years old before I know it. It's creepy when you think about it like that. Yeah, so we start by doing it like this, people, where we just do the basic outlines of the stuff, you know, and then we'll go over it again. And that's why time lapses are cool, you know, because you can speed it up and you can see the process of how people do it. You know, I'm using a different pad today, thinner paper. That other paper was chewing these pens up, you know. I just bought a set like a week ago and they're already shit out on me because that other pad just ate it up. It's good for other things. Colored pencils, that kind of crap. I don't do a lot of that kind of stuff, so more of an ink, watercolor, alcohol markers, that kind of thing. So I'll have to save that pad for something else. That's okay though. You can never have enough pads, you know. So we'll keep plugging away at this city here, and we'll keep flapping our gums about stuff. Already Christmas, and then it'll be New Year's. We'll have a bunch of people coming in trying to buy alcohol that are too young to buy alcohol, and I'll be like, nope, sorry, can't do that. Nope, sorry, can't do that. And they'll be like, oh, come on, man. Nope, sorry, can't do that. I don't give a shit. I don't play around with that stuff. I do not play around with that stuff. I've told you guys stories before about bartenders where I live getting in deep shit for serving somebody who then goes out and crashes their vehicle or something, you know, because they were drunk already, and half the time they got a bottle in their car or whatever. So it's a shitty situation for everybody, you know. So got our World Trade Centers going on here in our pre-9/11 New York City. Let's clean it up a little bit, about like that actually. Yeah, a little bit right there. Never been to New York. You know, I don't know if I'd want to go anymore. I think the New York that I, wanted to see just doesn't exist anymore. You know, it's from the 80s and 90s and stuff, and I just don't think it's there anymore. And that's fine, you know, things change, you know. It is what it is. It's more the buildings, too. I always liked architecture, like I was saying. And it would be cool to see all the buildings and stuff, and you can do that without having to go there. Getting kind of dangerous, too, it seems like. But I guess you never know. Maybe one day I'll go out there and become a statistic and prove myself right. But no, for real, who knows? Maybe one day I'll go. It'd be cool. You never know. Never say never. So we got our New York City here with buildings all over the place. Going Manhattan. Our subways flying around. So yeah, that gaming system looked freaking awesome. Having the ability to bust around, and and if you have your digital, your VR headset on, it's even better, So then I can get into video games, I think, when they're at that level, of being involved, My kid's got a VR. The games are kind of pricey, but it's a pretty cool thing. It's a pretty cool piece of hardware. Very cool thing. But, bless you. But yeah, having that with that seat, then being able to play the games, that would be awesome. Flying around in a TIE fighter or an X-Wing or something, that would be something else. That would be something to behold. And a lot of fun. Anything short of Matrix level, being jacked into the system. And, you take that any way you want. If it's a good thing or a bad thing. Guess it all depends where the world's at, What if there was some, cataclysm, right? What if it's a little bit in the future, and there's some kind of cataclysm, and they offer people the ability, hey, we can put you in virtual stasis. And while you're in stasis, you can be in whatever kind of world you want. We got all these worlds we've created already based on popular franchises. We got a mixed world. We got intermixed worlds where you can visit other people's worlds that are in the network. And because the world is going to be destroyed by the comet or by the solar flare or pick your disaster. So, Wonder what world I would pick. Well, I know what world I would pick. I would pick a world where I could go to the Star Trek universe and the Star Wars universe at the same time. In a world where I could see my kid, you know, even though we're both in pods, I would want to be able to see him, you know, virtually, say hi and all that kind of stuff. And, yeah, have some kind of life outside of just living in the pod and being unconscious. I think it would be kind of cool. I think it would be very cool. I would do it, I think. If there was no, like I said, if something had to be going on, though, I wouldn't just do it to do it. I'd have to have some kind of world-shattering, you know, event happening. It's going to destroy everything, and, you know, so then I could see myself doing it. But, like I said, never say never. Never say never. Gonna draw all the little buildings kind of on the waterfront. And we'll draw, you know, I don't know, should we draw the Statue of Liberty? It should be like over here somewhere. It's an exaggerated look of the city, obviously. Old comic book looking look of the city. Yep, subway flying in and out. Jumping out, dropping down 1,000 feet to your demise. Can't do that either. You just be along for the ride. I see that new Avatar movie has come out. At this point, I'm too invested. I'll have to watch it. You know, shit. Watch the other ones. I'm not gonna go to the theater and watch it though. I live in a small town where it's not worth it to go to the theater for any reason at all. Ever. And when you have 80-inch TV and all that kind of crap, it's like, why? Why would I go to the theater? Excuse me, allergies. Yeah, why would I go to the theater? You know, what's the reward? You know, when at home I can sit here and wait a couple weeks and have it delivered, watch it at home, be able to pause it, be able to do this. You know, not have to deal with a bunch of fucking twerp kids behind me spit-wadding on their phones and talking shit and doing TikToks and stuff. So it's like, you know, I could sit in my pajamas and smoking and doing whatever, eating snacks. I could pass out and it wouldn't matter. Because that's what I do in the movies. I tend to fall asleep in the movies just because that's how I am. But yeah, so it's like, you know, or I could, you know, go to the theater and have an experience. Well, unless you live in a big-ass city or something, it's not really much of an experience. It's an easy decision, actually, not going, you know? Easy decision, man. So we'll draw the Statue of Liberty. And her little pedestal there. And she'll be facing the city, looking good. Just be a little representation of her. And then New Jersey would be over there, I guess. And the Bronx would be over there. I'll have to draw a couple bridges too. I only got myself in a mess. See, I should have picked like Philadelphia or something that had less infrastructure that I had to draw now. That's okay though. I have to remember though how many bridges. We have one over here. Just kind of do it like such. Yep, I can't wait till it's over. Then we can start getting beat up by the next holiday already, you know? Whatever it is. I mean, what is the next holiday anyway? I suppose it would be like Valentine's Day or something. Some bullshit made up holiday. And they can start beating us up with that, but at least it would be done with Christmas. Alright. Alright, so there's a bridge. Sometimes I gotta kind of hold my breath to, be able to draw lines and stuff. So I apologize if there's some dead time here and there while I'm flapping my gums. So we got Statue of Liberty, we got one bridge. Yeah, what else should we draw? We can have like Jersey Shore over here, but it'll be like a background looking thing, It's not as many tall buildings, so we'll just have a few, like such. And then we'll have the water end right there. And over here like such. There's a little cartoon in New York City. I'll find my lead. Start going over these now with some darker pins. So what are we thinking here? Thinking a wage for this foreground fella here. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want to go to New York anymore. It seems like it's a little different than the one that I used to know, or used to think I know, I guess. Never really knew it. Gotta move the page around like that to get good angles and stuff. Yeah, they say that like a huge chunk of the city isn't even born there. They're not even, and that's whatever. I'm not one of these like, oh, but it's just crazy, And I guess it's always been the state of New York. Like looking at that movie Gangs in New York, it was the Irish that everybody hated. The Irish were the hated immigrants of their day. And they ended up turning out fine. But at the same time, even though they didn't look at it as such at the time, the Irish came from similar culture than to the English and, to the other European powers that were colonizing over here. So, JS. So, drawing a little subway car. See how